Well, welcome to another episode of Business Ahas. We're here at Rift. And as you might have guessed, I always say we have an amazing guest today, but I don't. I have two amazing guests today. And it wasn't for one, I wouldn't have met the other. And it wasn't for me meeting the other, we wouldn't be where we are today, having probably one of the most impactful nonprofits that I've seen in a very long time, making truly a difference in our community. So today we have Mariel, and Mariel is our founder of yourpaths.org. And Your Paths is about people making choices in the youth. Mariel works for the Phoenix Fire Department. And the Phoenix Fire Department has a program, what they've had for years, where the fire engines may get for 911 calls for emergencies. A lot of times there's not a medical emergency, but it's more of a mental health type of a situation. So Mariel is involved in that program. She's involved in delivering the service with the Phoenix Fire Department. And her entire background is about helping others that are going through kind of a tough time. And whatever that tough time may be, if it's youth, if it's a family situation, foster kids, doesn't matter. Her whole drive and her whole life is how can I make a difference in other people's lives. She educated me on a word that I had no idea even existed in my entire vocabulary. And now when I meet people, I actually say, do you know what this word means? And I look at them and I say, have you ever heard of the word the blade? Like the blade, right? So people are like, no, I never heard of that before in my entire life. And so, because I didn't heard it before when she mentioned it to me. So every large metropolitan community in the United States of America has a part of the city that's actually called the blade. And the blade is usually a street, a road. So growing up here as a kid, when I was little in the 70s, I was a teenager in the 70s, the blade then would be considered Van Buren. So those of you that are from Arizona, they'd be like, oh, okay, yeah, I know what Van Buren was. But that it's changed. So now the blade's no longer Van Buren. It's another road in more of the just west of I-17, north-southbound road. And it is where youth is trafficked for sex exploitation. Literally, where they go sell themselves to make money. And Mariel, when she had this vision of making a difference and being able to provide a different path, your paths, a different path for this youth that have this vulnerable piece of their life, for her to be able to make a difference. And she, as a founder, is funding with this entire nonprofit what we're doing. And I will tell you, our entire team at Board Developer love working with her because she's like, okay, I'm going to get this shit done. And you do.
I do.
Yeah. So Mariel, great having you.
Thank you so much for having me today.
So when you were in grade school, did you say, I want to have a master's degree in this?
No. I was extremely, very, very different as a kid. But I always surrounded myself with helping others. I thought I was going to be a teacher.
Interesting. Well, you kind of are.
Yeah. But I worked in a school when I first moved to Phoenix, and I was like, hell no. I changed my major immediately to not do early childhood education.
Hell to no.
Yeah. I was like, I do not want to do this. So I ended up changing it to psychology to follow in my dad's footsteps because he was a psychologist. So, so it always had surrounded a dream of helping others.
So, but when you were a kid, though, you didn't say, I want to be a psychologist.
I think it was more, I want to be like my dad who helped everybody. I started my career even as a young, like right out of high school. I started working with youth. I worked at a school. My third grade teacher gave me my first job I was a teacher's aide in the kindergarten class. And when I finally moved to Phoenix, I changed my degree and I started my psychology stuff. And I've been working with youth since I was 18. So
when did you realize that this is kind of my calling? I mean, obviously it's probably either during college, after college, that first job, like, I need to do this.
I think when I started working with undocumented migrants, I noted how poor services were being provided for families. And I kind of was like, I'd like to start something that actually has effective services and really provides good support for those individuals who are extremely vulnerable in the community. And I I think that your paths is that journey that will be very helpful in our community. Hope once it starts up and running and everything's going, I think it'll be a great asset to Phoenix.
You think it will be, or it
I
will
know,
be?
and
Okay.
I know
It
it's gonna
will.
be. Yeah,
Yes.
it'll be a really good.
So let's back up. You say
Sure.
your paths.
Yeah.
So we didn't have a name.
We did not.
Yeah,
I had already had paths though in mind.
Yeah.
I was drinking at a bar with friends, and they were
No.
extremely There's
There's a
that's kind
theme.
of where all of
There's a theme here.
Yes. All of my good ideas apparently come over, a cocktail. And we started talking about just different ways. I was really very inspired by GEMS in New York City, started by Rachel Lloyd. And I kind of wanted something that had an acronym like GEMS. GEMS is Girls Education Mentoring Services. And so we were just talking about things, and we said path, and it kind of just all came up from there. And then you added which I felt was such a nice ownership for that individual who comes in through the doors. It's their path. It's something that they can own, because so many choices have already been taken from them. So I think including the just your in front of paths was a great addition.
It's ownership.
Yeah. It's for them to feel like I'm taking charge of my
You
life
said something
again.
though. Hang on a second. Let's back up.
Okay.
So many things have been taken away from them.
Mm-hmm.
We're giving them back their you.
Yes.
You-
We're giving them their
your-
own
their
idea
choice.
of what they want to do for
Because
themselves.
they get to pick.
And like we talked about in our meetings of, we're not going to call them clients. They're going to be members because they're joining the team. It's not necessarily like we're the big experts that are going to lead them to whatever they need. It's going to be their ideas, their input, what they want for themselves.
So tell me about, what is the Blade?
Sure. The Blade is just a street where most individuals would go to pick up a sex worker. A lot of the times, like statistically here in the United States, the average age is 13 for a girl to enter into sex work, being exploited sexually. And so a lot of stuff has moved, obviously digitally, but there is still a street where someone can drive up and pick up someone to pay them for sex. And that is the Blade. So that is where, if you drive up 27th Avenue, right off the 17 near Indian School, all the way to Bethany Home, you'll see individuals just walking around, and you'll kind of know they're not just walking around for nothing else, but maybe to provide that specific service, maybe against their will most of the time.
Why is it that this doesn't know that? And most people that I talk to, like,
Sure.
have you heard of the Blade? They're like, what?
I think it's just underground. I think a lot of the times people ignore the fact that this is happening in their backyard. People don't like to think of girls
in their own backyard.
Yes,
Yeah,
most of the time.
And by the way, just because you live in Paradise Valley or Scottsdale doesn't mean you don't have a teenage kid that's working the Blade.
Oh, for sure.
I mean, that blew my mind. I mean, you
Yeah.
assume socioeconomical is a driver, which it is, but you'd be surprised how many times people that are on the Blade are from that neighborhood.
Yeah, because of the fact that there are so many other risk factors, and it's so easy for a trafficker to start grooming a young person because they're so impressionable and they want to belong somewhere. So if they're feeling neglected at home, they're in foster care. There's a lot of different risk factors that come into play that will lead that girl or boy, that individual, to want maybe somewhere to belong. And they think that a lot of the traffickers love bomb, and they provide a lot of great, amazing experiences. And then all of a sudden it's taken away super quickly, and they don't know how to react. And because they're kids, it's, where would they go to get that help?
Wow. Hang on a second. Love bomb?
Yeah.
What is that?
So like a trafficker will provide a bunch of things. They give them presents and take them out to eat and get their nails done and all these amazing things that maybe they've never experienced before. And then
That's the
comes
love
for
bomb.
payment. Yeah. And then they come for payment of, hey, now you owe us something. You owe me. I provided you this amazing life, and now you need to contribute. And it's through sex work most of the time, or stripping at the strip club, or providing. I just found this out recently where a lot of girls are on your OnlyFans, but they're being forced to do that that type of work. And that is a little bit less threatening. But it's also a grooming process to then force them to have sex with someone else.
It's the gateway.
Yeah.
Right?
Because it's easy for you to be like, well, you're just taking off your clothes. No one's really touching you, or no one's really doing anything to you.
Until they do.
And then until they have to.
So let's walk through the journey with your paths.
Sure.
And how it started and what's the evolution, where we are today.
Yeah. I mean, I'm very excited for where we are today. So it just, I've seen how badly agencies are run just working in the field. There's a lot of times where we're duplicating a lot of services. There's agencies that are doing the exact same thing all over the board. And no one's really filling the gaps of like what really is needed in the community. And Adriana gave me your info. I did not have the confidence in myself to like think I could lead something as large and impactful. But then I think I just forced myself last year in October to reach out to you just to be like, you know what? I think I need to start something. I think the universe was kind of telling me you're done working for someone else that not necessarily are incompetent, but they're not as excited and passionate about actually providing these services.
It's called bureaucracy.
Yes, and it's called all the political stuff that comes up.
So it's really interesting. You mentioned the word confidence.
Yes.
I would never, ever assume you lacked confidence.
I mean, in that sense of like seeing maybe other CEOs, other people that are in charge, I felt very not prepared enough.
Maybe a little bit of imposter syndrome?
Yeah.
Okay.
Of like, I know my shit, but at the same time, am I really ready to run something by myself? I also just didn't feel like I was in a stable enough place, like financially, things like that. I mean, it does cost a lot of money to get something off the ground, obviously, all the administrative type of things. And so I just didn't feel like I was at that place. But then I also was like, if I don't move forward, I'm never going to get there. So I kind of just was like, Adriana, I'm like making you hold me accountable. I called you, and then you had me text you. And I was like, I'm following through with this. And even my mom was like, well, maybe not. Like, this is not a good idea. And you have a good paying job. Like, why are you trying to do something so risky? And I was like, well, if I don't take any risks, I'm going to stay complacent forever if I don't take any risks. So
you needed to take that leap.
I did. And I'm extremely grateful and excited with how things have progressed. It's like, in the last 6 months, we've done so much work for this agency that is almost, up and running. I mean, we have our first board meeting scheduled.
We have 7 board members.
We have 7 board
They're
members
amazing people
that are so excited. Like, I mean, one of them, emailed me and was like, when are we getting started? Like, I haven't heard from anybody. I signed everything. And so it's that type of energy that obviously is pushing us to a good place of being able to get all these services out in the community.
Adriana, why did she need to take the leap? Is this her calling?
Yes. You mentioned that you weren't feeling confident or just, this kind of fear, but I think I always saw beyond that. And I think that's how it is, because the person on this side is going to see something completely different than what you're experiencing inside.
Because I've not seen that before.
Correct.
Wait a minute, confidence?
Yeah. You're like, this person? Because, it's not you. You always come across confident. When you speak of this, when you have spoken about this in the past, you speak of it with, first off, love in your heart. You care about this so much. I've learned a lot from you. I didn't know about the blade. I didn't know about a lot of these things. You still mention things to me and I'm left like, how could that be? So you speak of this with a lot of heart, with a lot of love, with passion.
Passion to the core.
Passion to the core. And I haven't seen you this excited in I don't know how long.
Yeah. Yes. I'm extremely excited.
Yeah, you took that leap. It was the right time. There was a reason why that card was on my refrigerator, on my freezer door for nearly 12 months. And then when you called me that day out of the blue saying, I'm ready. Okay, here we go.
Hang on a second. Let me go run to the refrigerator. Let me give you this guy's number to call this guy.
And it would just, everything happened so fast. At that point, I knew I'm like, okay, this is perfect timing. And look at where we are now.
Mm-hmm.
And so, Mariel, explain to me now,
Sure.
what is your paths doing? And this, we always talk about how do we take baby steps and then
Yeah.
how do we learn to crawl, but this current endeavor that we're currently doing with the access to the app for the
Yeah.
kid. Oh my gosh.
So yeah, we're doing a virtual drop-in center.
A virtual drop-in center.
Yes.
Okay.
So it is obviously a way more cost-effective way and ability to reach a bunch of different populations, individuals who maybe aren't able to, get to an actual location where they would be able to get services. They'll have a community there. They would, we're going to do, just provide services online platform right now. Hoping for in the future to have an actual location where individuals could come in and actually get services right in front of, right with someone there.
So we learned about this through 1 in 10.
Yes. So one of our board members, Nate, amazing individual.
Nate Roten, CEO of 1 in 10.
Yes, who I mean, and that agency is amazing. So Nate gave us the idea. Nate and 1 in 10 started Discord chat and a drop-in center themselves where they're open 5 days a week. And he was kind of like, well, have you thought about something like this? When I first met him, and he was like, I think this would be an amazing idea for individuals, especially due to safety. A lot of exploited youth and young adults might not be able to leave their situation immediately to go get help.
And this particular platform assesses and provides them a safe place.
Yes, which would be able to go through a website, through the app, whatever it is that you're on the computer, on a phone, you're able to download it and go directly to that page and send a request to be able to join. So we're also taking into consideration, obviously, like safety factors.
Sure, but the youth loves it.
Yes.
Because obviously they're connected to their devices, and geography is no longer an issue.
Yeah, and they can
somewhere.
talk to any staff member that's there. They can obtain services. They can get resources if like a parent goes on there and is just like, hey, I don't know what's going on with my kid. There's maybe risk factors of exploitation that they don't recognize. And we can kind of educate, provide support, and then ultimately be able to provide services like face-to-face out in the community.
Fascinating. So when you say that it provides them an opportunity to have access, in the very beginning, you probably didn't think about this being an option.
The way of how things are going. Obviously, we're doing virtual therapy. We're doing virtual support groups online. So it just seemed like a very natural thing, especially with like the Gen Z generation, where they might not be very comfortable going into somewhere and telling someone, a stranger, their entire life story, but they're way more likely to text it to someone. Or to, I worked on a suicide hotline. A lot of the times they wouldn't want to go in for help, but they were totally cool to call and talk to someone and get support through the phone or through text lines.
And that's what we provide now.
Yes. And so that's something that we're doing now where it's completely online. It's open certain days a week. So that way we can make sure that we're monitoring, we're ensuring that everybody's safe while they're on that platform. So it's an amazing first step for us.
Because in the beginning, it's about these milestones.
Yes.
And how do you make a difference? And the answer is one member at a time.
Mm-hmm.
And if we can make a difference in one member's life.
Yeah. Or their family, whoever.
It was worth everything.
Hell yeah. So, and that's kind of what it is of, even if right now there's not a ginormous amount of numbers where people are coming through the platform so often, at least we're connecting with individuals and providing them that support and help and showing them that there is someone out there that does give a shit and wants to make sure that they're in a safe place, and that if they can't leave right now, maybe they'll get the courage to leave in, a number of days, weeks, or interactions with us. And then hopefully we can get them connected to other services once they are in a safer place.
Because your path is a safe resource.
Yes, it's a safe haven for the individuals that are exploited or are at risk for exploitation. There are so many things that happen before a child is probably trafficked that if we can catch them at the beginning, maybe they don't have to go through that experience. And that's the goal.
Wow. Mm-hmm. So as we kind of fast forward thinking about the future and all the aspirations of having a facility and providing training and group and providing them essential needs that they have to be able to get out of this rut where they are, to not be a love bomb, as you said earlier. To understand that life isn't about the somebody buying you things, and
Sure.
but at the end of the day, of having an impact and making a difference in our youth's lives. My hat's off, absolutely hats off. I mean, it wasn't for the inspiration that you had the courage, we wouldn't be making the difference we're making today, right?
Yeah. I mean, we've made huge progress since we first started working together back in October. I mean,
It's not even been a year.
it has not even been a year. And we have done so much with applying for, for our nonprofit status. We have the website that's being developed. I have a bank account now for this nonprofit through Foothills Bank.
Plug. Yeah.
Right.
We have our board completely set up. Everybody's really excited. I've met so many individuals just doing this whole thing that are like, hey, when you're up and running, like I want to provide more holistic type of services like yoga groups for the kids. They want to provide educational services on how to like become entrepreneurs themselves, just a bunch of things.
People love to help.
Yes, they do.
And if you give them the opportunity to help and you hold them responsible for whatever that help is, let them do it on their terms as long as it's within the rules. Let them.
Yeah, no, for sure. And I think that's what's really cool about the impact that we're trying to make on the community is that the community is like really rallying around us and wanting to help out. And hey, when this is up and running, or they want to get trained, to volunteer, things like that, where it's going to be completely an amazingly huge, hopefully, service provider here in the community to just provide everything that's needed for them. And
impact.
And an impact, yeah.
Yep.
And doing stuff like very small things, I don't think people realize how difficult it is for, especially, individuals who don't have any support. And that's what mostly happens is that these young adults, youth, they might not have support around them. And that's what I think we're really trying to fill in those gaps of belonging and having a place that they can come and a community, because I think that is one of the biggest downfalls when someone is, or not downfalls, but one of the biggest risk factors of them going back is that they don't have people rallying around them that want them to be in a better, safer place.
Exactly. A better, safer place, and allows them to be able to pick a new path.
Yes.
So throughout this process now since October, what's been kind of the biggest aha, like, wow, I didn't realize X, or wow, I didn't realize that we had access to Y, or oh my gosh, this happened and I had no idea what happened. What's been like the biggest thing that like hit you like, wow, this is really happening?
I think for myself, it's been, I actually can do it. I think I came in being very nervous and extremely anxious about just failing. And I think I've proven myself wrong, of I can actually do this, and I can lean on that support that I already have built in my life, like my sister, friends, people, my coworkers, people that I've met just doing this thing, just getting this started, that people will show up for you, because they see that there is that passion and that love and that I have that ability in myself to get it going and get it started.
So you said a minute ago about what you're going to be able to do. I would argue the fact that you did it.
Yes,
Yes.
technically.
Yes, not
Yes.
technically.
Yeah.
You're having impact. And when we have the group together, is making a difference.
Yeah.
And with people that want to support what your paths is doing, they can. How do they do that?
I mean, as of now, our website's almost completely developed. I do have a phone now for it. They can get on Discord. We're developing the intake form just so that people can actually connect onto Discord.
And Discord's the application.
So it's for the virtual drop-in center. So I think in general, it would just be contacting me at founder@yourpaths.org. And, just letting me know what you want to help with. And, we can kind of plug it in as we can.
And if it's a youth, reach out.
Yeah. Yeah. If you know of anybody, or if you have
or
family member,
or
you're a parent who maybe has some questions about risk factors for exploitation, things like that. I mean, reach out to us, and we can always provide that help and assistance. And
your career has been dedicated to this.
Yes, I've worked in crisis management basically probably the entire time.
So when that teenage youth reach out to you, they're going to get a person that cares.
Yes, and that wants the best for you in whatever sense that is. Because
you're going to let them decide.
Yes, because it's their choice of whatever they would like. Because sometimes it's something very small, or sometimes it's something really large, but we'll do the best we can to get them to where they want to be.
I think I like that a lot, because when you were talking about the name Your Paths, and it just made sense. And the more that you and I talked about this, because like I said, I'm kind of learning about this as well, is that you were saying it's not a cookie cutter story.
Yeah.
Everybody is different. Everybody has a different story, and everybody needs something different, which you can provide accordingly.
Yeah. And I think that's what makes Your Paths very different, is that we're not wanting to just be, here's a blanket amount of services that are for whoever comes through the doors. I think it is a much more of, we need to know what you really need and want, and we're wanting to get that for you.
That was a little bit of an aha moment for me, actually, because you go through all this whole process of, norming, storming the business, and it's a nonprofit, but you got to treat it like a real business, and you got to have all these things in place. And then the questions you get, so what services should we provide, and what should we be doing? Ask them. I'm like, holy cow.
Yeah.
So we did that. We actually have somebody on our board that was actually exploited.
Yes.
Amazing.
Yes. I want to.
And you insisted upon that. You're
yes,
like, I
want
need
survivor
to have
leadership.
Yeah.
For sure.
And we have that. And we have law enforcement leadership and fire department leadership.
Yes.
And to be able to have individuals that truly care about how we're impacting in this case, sometimes first responders, working for the Phoenix Fire Department, as yourself, not as a firefighter,
no,
but as a provider of services.
Yes.
I mean, people will be surprised the percentage. So first of all, the Phoenix Fire Department, what percentage of calls that go on are EMS 911 medical calls versus fire calls? It's like 90% medical calls versus the real fire department.
Yeah, for sure.
And then the next question would be, of that 90% of the 911 calls that are medical related, what percentage of those involve a certain level of mental health?
Or a certain level of crisis?
And the answer is more than you might think.
Yes, because we do get dispatched to a lot of things that I think the community would really not recognize as something that is even though, yes, it is a huge crisis, mental health crisis in the community. I don't think that community members really realize how much we actually support and assist in Phoenix. Well, and I also work in Chandler, but for those things that people don't really recognize as I really needed support and help in this.
How many professional teams does Phoenix Fire Department have now?
19.
19
Yes, we have
vehicles,
19 units.
And these all respond 24 hours a day.
Yes, it's 24/7.
19, and at least 2 people on these.
Yes, there are always 2 on our units, and they are responding to mental health, behavioral health calls that include substance use, on being unhoused, things like that. It's not for PD to go to. It's more for a mental health professional, someone that our units are staffed with peer supports, and they are someone who's lived the life of being unhoused, being addicted, having significant mental health issues. And then we have crisis response that goes out to a bunch of different type of crime calls that maybe PD doesn't have to handle all the feelings things. We are here to do those things and provide that support to those individuals that are being affected by some sort of crime. Something has occurred in their home, in the community, and they need some support.
Fascinating. Mariel, you're an inspiration.
Thank you.
You are.
Yeah.
Courage.
Yes.
And I can't thank you enough for sticking with it.
I mean, I'm extremely grateful for you, Jim, just to provide all of the logistical things. I think that was what I felt like I was lacking when I first started this process of getting this going, was just the business side of things, because I have been working in the field for so long. I've been out in the streets and working with the community members, with our undocumented migrants, with, teenagers who've had significant sexual trauma. So I did all of those things and have all those skills. But then I think the back end of everything, I'm still learning. And I think that you've been a huge part in that.
Well, thank you very much. And I hats off to our team.
Yes, our team is amazing. I love
and
them.
it's been, and it's fascinating to see too, how much passion they have.
I think it's been nice to see, like our new member Elisa, Avery's been like so excited for it. She's consistently is helpful and providing a bunch of different things, especially for marketing, which is something I just don't know anything about. And then Lisa with all of her information about grants and all those nonprofit space of the administrative side, where I think I obviously am still learning and growing in. So yeah.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you so much for
You've
having
been
me.
amazing.
Thank you, Jim.
Well, you see the word passion, commitment, making the right choice at the right time, and Mariel choosing. And I obviously I gave Adriana credit, but at the end of the day, I'm going to give credit to somebody else. Dad. Dad wouldn't have been as a psychologist and truly providing a difference in people's lives. Her changing her decision from education to psychology, and now to be able to help the youth is remarkable. And when I said an inspiration, I mean that from the bottom of my heart. On behalf of the entire team, Business Ahas, this is one of them that you will remember for a long time. Take care.